Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Joleen from Squirrel Ai Learning. Thanks for coming to our session. Our session is pretty freestyle, so our topic is Chat with Squirrel Ai. So the first part will be me and presenting how Squirrel Ai is doing in this industry in about 15 minutes. And I will have another meeting, but my executive assistant and also our research scientist, Per, will take over, and she will be doing the technology part presentation. And of course, I'll come back and doing Q&A with everyone. So it's really freestyle, so feel relaxed. So yes, Squirrel Ai Learning, we've been in this industry for about 9 years, and this is our 10th year. So from the very beginning, we started doing AI adaptive learning. So we are AI education company, not like a traditional education company transferred to AI. So our goal was to use AI technology to provide personalized learning. That was back in 2014. And at that time, we know Newton, Alex, they were doing adaptive learning already in US market, which is great. And we saw many like AI versus human teachers competition at that time. And all the results showed the students using adaptive learning system, they could gain better results and they can use less time. And so we decided to adapt AI adaptive learning into our system. So from 2014, we started building the engine. So at that time, it was just an AI adaptive engine. And 1.5 years ago, we started to doing research on large language model. And at the end, we decided to use large model and integrate it into our adaptive system. So this year in January, we just announced our new engine, which is called LAM. It's large adaptive model. So we use adaptive and large model together. And that's our new engine, which Per will do some introduction. So we can see the last 2 lines on the slides is L5, Self-Directed Learning AI Intelligent Learning Pad. So what does it mean? When we provide the product is a smart learning tablet. It's a kind of learning tablet. So students can learn from the tablet. It's got hardware and its software is a SaaS system inside of the tablet. And they can do self-directed learning, which means they can use the tablet here, at home, in the centers, anywhere. So our business model is we sell our products to the distributors, and distributors will sell the products to the customers directly. So we are not really a to-school business model. We are to centers and to consumers business model. Of course, we do provide SaaS system to public schools as well. So in public schools, they don't buy any devices from us. They just buy the software, the learning account from us, because that would be very low price. It's almost non-profit learning account for the public schools. So that's basically our, the history and why we are doing that and what the product will look like. And I think everyone here at GSV conference understand the difficulties of traditional education, so I won't really go deeper. But basically, there are several difficulties. One is in classroom, even though there are so many tools providing for teachers for personalized learning, digitalization, AI, virtual tutor, but it's still basically teaching the same thing for the same classroom. Even though some students can receive some personalized learning, but they are kind of divided into different levels. But for us, it's really everyone is receiving their own learning path. So in our system, no student is learning the same thing at the same time, because it's really based on different students' knowledge state, their past experiences, and their gaps and the strengths. And someone can need to trace back to the previous learning objectives, and someone can just learn forward to a higher level. And also another difficulty will be the learning speed. So same learning component and different students will need different lengths of the time. But if it's in the same classroom, everyone actually has the same time to finish. But some of them already, left behind. Some can learn faster, and which means a little bit waste of the time for the students. So that's the current difficulties. And another one is most these difficulties happen in Asian countries is the schools focus on the knowledge more often rather than building abilities and creativities. So what we have done with AI adaptive and large model is we build our MCM system, which I will mention later. So which is model thinking, capacity, and methodology. So at the same time, the student learn the subjects such as math, English, physics, science, those subjects. They also train their MCM, which is very important for their future career. So learning only knowledge is another traditional education's difficulties that we want to change with AI technology. And for Squirrel Ai's business model, so currently we focus in China's market, and this year we are entering US market. So we are designing our US contents and build them onto our AI LAM engine, and then we can have our US products, which is isolated and totally pure US market, and then have our US centers as well. But this graph shows we have had 2,000 distributors in China's market, and we've helped over 60,000 public schools in China with the learning account for the students and the teachers. And accumulated, we've got 24 million students used our Squirrel Ai adaptive learning accounts. And so far, we've got over 200,000 smart learning devices sold last year. And that was probably back in 2020, yeah. We were ranked as one of the top 50 fast grow technology companies by Deloitte, and we were one of the 50 smartest company by MIT Technology Review. And also one of the owner was awarded by UNESCO, which is the AI innovation, and we were one of the top 100 by CB Insights AI companies. So that's some awards. And we've got over 50 papers published and accepted by those AI conferences and AI education conferences. And from 2018 until 2021, we had 3 research partnerships. One was with Carnegie Mellon University, and that was our joint lab for 2 years. And then we started with working with Stanford Research Institute from 2015. And during the pandemic, we kind of stopped. And at the end of last year, we just restarted collaborating with SRI. And also with the China's Academy of Science, we had joint lab as well. And another award, actually, we founded together with Triple AI and Euro AI is we want to do something for the whole AI industry. That was back in 2020. So we announced a Squirrel AI Award, and we donate $1 million per year to one winner in the world, a scientist. It could be in medical area, could be any areas, but not our company. So we were the sponsor. We wanted to encourage AI in all the industries to help the humanity. So that was the Squirrel AI Award. And we were interviewed by Stanford MBA, so we were one of the case study at their MBA classes, and they are updating our story this year. And yeah, so the next part will be our engine part. So basically, Per will do some introduction about our adaptive engine, and then how we integrate large model with adaptive together to build our LAM. So yeah, please, Per, I'll hand over to you.
I'm not quite sure if I can remember all the details.
Thank you.
I'll try my best.
I'll come back in about 15 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Please come back, save me. So please correct me if I'm not correct. So I can go faster if you're not that interested in this content, but basically what I like about this architect is because it's organically growth from the machine learning to LLM. To put it into one word, so we have this multimodal agent system. So to put it simpler, it's we take a lot of feedback from the students, and we analyze it with the understanding from the model itself. So as you can see, since we have 2,000 centers in the state, in China, which means we have millions of students, and it also means we have a lot of data, right? Well, we're concerned about the data and privacy from the students. Of course, we'll do all the cleansing the data before use, but yeah, the more data you have, the more information you have, which is true. Yeah. And next one. So how should I go to the next stage? Oops. Okay, yeah. So this is the model that we have. We have the upper layer. So as Squirrel AI, we're concerned a lot about the security and the data safety. And this is almost the highest priority as our concern. And here is a model. So this is, as you can see, this is not my slides, so I'm not very familiarized it. Oops. I can pause if you need to take a picture. Next one, sorry. Squirrel AI, this is our adaptive engine, which is powered by LLM. Oh, of course, if this is not entirely the OpenAI LLM or ChatGPT, but the logic itself is not, it has been there for a while, so that's why we can use it. Next slide. Okay. And one of the advantage that we have here is now we make it nano level, which means we are making the knowledge points smaller and smaller. So the the engine and calculation is getting more and more complicated, which means it will be more accurate for each individual student. And for example, if we notice, if we can detect one of the students' weakness in one knowledge point, we'll be able to trace back what did he or she left behind, or in short of, from the prerequisite courses. It will be easier for us to detect because we have the nano level breakdown. This is what I understand. Next one. Yeah. Take knowledge first. Yeah. And addition and subtraction, I have no idea what it's about. So I think this is one of the examples about what we mean by nano point of the knowledge. For example, if we want to learn about the subtraction and addition of the fraction, we have a couple of the sub-points here. Subtraction of the fractions, addition of the fractions, subtraction on a fraction, simple fraction calculation, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is what we meant by the nano level of the knowledge. And then, what's this? Yeah, two-step formulation for fractions with different denominators. Solve for unknown in same denominator fractions. Yeah, this is what we meant by the, and we will collect students' learning data without their names at real time. And yeah. So we have the results of the test for students, difficulty of the test, knowledge points included in the test, and time for the students to finish the test. They are all key points and what we think that is important to help the student success in the next level. And as every machine learning or AI product, we have the prediction engine. Then we'll collect all the data and input into the machine. So the result or algorithm is showing us the prediction. The prediction model is actually helping the students to improve their learning methodology. Okay, recommendation engine based on students' current knowledge state, also the students' current ability level, and students' learning rate in the past, students' personal learning goal in the past, characteristics such as difficulty level and importance of the knowledge point that students are about to learn. Okay. Goals and dynamic goals. So we have one goal for the student, which is to improve their score and performance in the test. We also have a dynamic goal, which is for the student to establish what we call the MCM model, which is, I think, the learning or the model, the logical model, how to master the knowledge. The learning experience driven by the AI engine. All the learning management system, UI components are powered by the AI engine behind the scene. Yeah, and next page will be the user state evaluation engine. We have a couple of subpoints here. Identify and diagnose the learning state, provide real-time continuous assessment. So continuous prediction model is always harder than the concrete or discrete model. Diagnose of students' knowledge states and ability level, update students' portrait. Okay. I have never seen that before. Yeah, so those are some examples or the outcomes after students actually used it. I think that's actually the student's name, how they master the knowledge. Yeah, so what we call the MCM is mode of the thinking, capacity, and methodology. We believe we not only need to scale the content, but more important, we need to scale the learning. This is one thing that I've learned from this GSV conference is I think it's pretty true. Nowadays, we don't lack any of the resource of the content, but we lack how to think about it, how to master knowledge, to make the knowledge ourselves. I think if this is even harder for in doubts, I think this is important for the students, not only in math, but in all subjects. So like, for example, like as I moved here when I was 18, so the most common thing I heard about the students here in States is say, math is hard. The math is not a human thing. We cannot do it. But I believe math is a language for science. If we can speak English well, we should be able to speak math well. That's why I feel like AI is empowering the students to learn math just as speaking any language. So that's why I think MCM is important. Okay. Yeah. So analysis of different careers. Yeah. We are hoping to use this AI machine to help students to succeed in their knowledge, in mastering the content, in mastering the logic, and succeeding in the future. Yeah, physics. How many more slides do I have here? 10 something? Yeah. And also, we have 3 models. We have actually three products. In Squirrel Ai, we have the learning center. We have the supervisor, who is actually data scientist, read the data and performance data from the students. And when they monitor something that is unusual, they will be able to immediately detect and tell the students, hey, how about this? And they will be able to adjust and help the students to understand their performance. So this is the learning center, and we also have the tablet. The students can use our system on our own tablet, and I think they have several. Yeah, there are different type of the tablets and with different price. We're just showing here. We haven't decided which tablet we're gonna import in the States yet, but we're just showing we have different kinds of the tablets. So here are 10 advantages of Squirrel AI intelligent hardware. And by comparison, I've seen a couple of similar tablets in China. And what I read about the report, the scientifically showing there's some advantage, but I can't quite remember. But there's a report saying that we are more advanced than other companies. I'm so prepared for the report. Displaying the stores and counters. So this is how the learning center look like in China. Content service. Also in this year, we're building the content here in the States with a team of content team here in Los Angeles. So they are very expertise and experienced teachers and expertise in ad tech. They've been in this area for a long time, and we believe they can deliver competent content for here in the US market. Yep. And we have this closed loop providing service, providing a place that students can come and learn. And we're also providing the service, which is empowered by our AI engine. And yeah, we have like all kinds of expertise, engineers, research scientists, mathematicians all over the world to help us to make this a better product. Yeah. Yeah, that's all she has, all the PowerPoints here. I went through all of them. So I guess since this is an open discussion, I would like to hear what do you think, if any open discussion that you want to have. And I have my friend here support me, so I feel much better. Yeah. Thank you. So, do I have any question here?
I like what you said about
Thank you.
learning math as a language for science.
Yeah.
Could you speak maybe a little more about that? Just like the approach? Yeah.
So
You heard it, but for everyone else, I liked what she said about learning math as a language and for science. And I just would love to hear more about that and how that approach differs from maybe the more traditional ways in which the U.S. learns about math.
So actually, I grew up in a family with all physicists. Or my mom, my grandma, my aunts, they are all physicists. So I grew up in this kind of environment. They all speaking science. They don't speak natural human language. So it's just, for example, the calculus, the Newton's law, F equals to m times A. It is a formula, but also it is it is the way they were talking to me or the way I learn math shapes my thinking of way. For example, if I think about Newton's law, I wouldn't be able to think whether this is an apple dropping from the tree. I would rather think of it equals to F equals to ma. So it is immediately related to my language. So yeah, how should I phrase it? Or for example, the calculus is like F equals to m times A if F prime is F prime A plus ma prime, right? I think the first thing is we need to tell the kid not to be afraid of it. But instead of telling them not to be afraid of, we should be telling them what is the way to think about it. It's if you are facing one difficulty in math, the way of the critical thinking or the logical thinking is not about emotion. It's about what's the point? Should I trace back? Like if 1 plus 1 is now 2, so what is 1 and what is the other one? Yeah, and it's very related to AI, right? AI is machine learning. It's all about math. It's all about just doing the computation. Yeah, I don't know if I'm making sense to you.
It does. Thank you.
So what's your global expansion strategy and US expansion strategy?
So yes, at current stage, we are making content, especially because we have lots of the courses in China. It's more completed in China. So in this year, we have a group of the employees and a group of the expertise working in OA. So they are delivering the material and content in US market. This is stage one. And stage two, we also have an AI group located in Seattle, developing, making the AI engine more and more competent and complete. The stage two and stage three is we're gonna work on the business development, which is to whether we want to open a learning center here or which product we want to sell of the tablets here in the States. Yeah. When Joleen comes back, she can talk more about that.
Hi. So I had a question about this assessment part of the system. So this is when the learner is asked a series of, you said it was around 30 or so, maybe more, maybe less questions to help determine where the learning gaps are. Could you share more information about the assessment itself? It seems to be a key part of the system, being able to identify whether students have or do not have proficiency with the underlying elements.
So I don't. Well, to understand this question. First of all, I think to detect a student's lack of the competence is not an easy task. We should say it might be a chance that students lack certain knowledge or background understanding about this point, but we can never see 100%. I think the point is we can figure out what are the points or what are the learning objective, the knowledge for certain. For example, I think Joleen has a slide talking about, for example, if we want to add fraction or subtract a fraction, we have sub-subjects for those points. And if we detect one point from the student, we will be able to check the sub-learning project, a sub-learning object to see which one is their weakness. That is my understanding. But yeah, Joleen can answer more. Where do you work at? Yeah. Regular. Regular.io. So what? I see. So what kind of like product that you make or? I see. So you are the content provider, right? Okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I see. So like usually in what kind of format that you're like delivering content? Okay. I see. So you're trying to make like the nano level of the knowledge points. You're trying to make the points smaller and smaller. The more, I always believe the more points that we have here, the more accurate we'll be able to detect the students' learning skills. Yeah. Okay, I see. Interesting. Very interesting.
I had another question about the presentation. Could you address this topic of the mistake reasoning system? So this is, when the learner makes an error, how exactly does the Squirrel Ai platform I guess you could say like attribute the variance to some particular gap in knowledge, A versus B, right? So if I'm doing a calculation as part of the learning process with Squirrel AI, and I make a mistake, how does the mistake reasoning system enter the game and help identify how I did not reach the solution?
I guess I'll have to repeat myself again. It's the way I learn math is the first point is biological. To understand the nature of the math is to trace back, understand there is a relationship between A and B, point A and point B. The second is always through practice. I think one of the reasons I think the students cannot learn well is human being can never be as patient as machine. Machine doesn't have a temper, human being does. So for the students had to use our engine is the machine is never getting tired with students. They can always work whenever they need to, whenever students need them to. The second point is as all the AI machine, the more data, for example, the student made one mistake here, probably the machine has never learned it before. But with the help of the LLM, we'll be able to store that type of the errors back to the system. So the next time when the student is making the same mistake again, one point, the system will be able to provide what the possible sub-learning object that they lack the ability in. The second, they will recognize they've made a similar mistake before. So this is the new advantage of the new technology.
Thank you. And a follow-up question to that has to do with learning, just learning science. There are some experts in learning theory and behaviorism who talk about using metaphors as a way of understanding how humans learn, or frames as a way of perceiving how the learning process works. And it seems like this entire approach is disregards that idea. It basically says, there are lots of granular things you have to acquire, and after you have all of the building blocks, you can do what you want to do. But where does that component of that big picture come in for the learner? The big picture that helps them approach a new novel task in the future, one that they're not necessarily prepared for. The type of thing that we normally associate with proficiency and mastery in the human-to-human classroom, if you will.
Thank you for the question. I think it's pretty big. I'm not sure if I'm able or if I'm qualified to answer that, but I'll try my best to share my understanding. I think one key for mastering a knowledge or mastering a skill set is motivation. It's human being, right? So at least for my knowledge, in China, the motivation for the students to learn is to obey the parents. If the parents forced them to learn, or to increase their score in math or in subjects, they have to do that. They don't have a choice, right? The second is that how convenient. I think every human being, no one wants to challenge themselves. No one wants to take hard things. No one wants to work hard. If we can make the learning process easier and more pleasant, I think it's a human being tends to go with the easy way. So I think the knowledge is helping the learning process to be easier than before. I think math is a challenging thing. It's counterintuitive rather than intuitive. So as a kid, they don't. It's natural for them not willing to challenge themselves. So if we can make the logical logic element smaller and smaller, the component smaller and smaller, just as the neuroscience. If the neurocells is smaller, it's easier to build bigger things. So there might still be small deviation or small steps that deviate to different directions. But if we are able to monitor the process and to adjust the direction in time, at least for me, the prediction of the modeling of the learning process is similar or is more accessible to success.
One final question, and it's not related to what you had mentioned before, but it does have to do with this monitoring. So in some of your materials, you mentioned that you have already collected over 10 billion data points related to the way in which learners interact with this product and service. And I just am curious how your organization is gaining new insights from that data collected, specifically with the behavioral monitoring of the users, like understanding how they emotionally react to things like frustration or wins when they succeed. And is there any insight that you could share with us about learning at scale with the system?
We do have a lot of data. I think nowadays, even OpenAI, even the most advanced companies, they are still trying to understand it. Even all the neuroscientists, they can't say they completely understand the nature of the emotion, the nature of the neuroscience yet. However, it is giving us a general idea of, if, for example, if just one student, we have data, a set of the data, it's more random rather than thousands of the students. So it's also called what's called large data law or large model law in statistics. So first of all, I think there are two paths to analyze students' reaction. One is facial recognition, whether you can read students' facial expression to tell whether they are happy or whether they are not happy. I don't have the data for the accuracy of the facial recognition yet, but this is one of the directions that I can think of. And the other one that I think is reasonable for us to analyze is the reaction time. If they are, for example, if they solve question A, for example, if we have data set is 5,000 students, if 4,000 of them reacted in 1 minute, within 1 minute, and with a reasonable, accurate answer, I would like to say this is relatively easier for this group of students to master in certain time. So I think what we're approaching just as any regular data scientist would analyze the data. I think we want to be careful as research scientists, right? We don't jump into the conclusion right away. It's not something that easy to be analyzed, and the data is not easy to be understood. But we like to participate in the research world to help every scientist to understand the data, understand the students. So the more data we have, the more tool we have, the easier the students will be able to master certain level of the understanding and knowledge and logic.